Would you say top to bottom is the most complete performance of the season tonight?
Certainly close, yeah. If not the most, obviously it's a good team over there. Grand Canyon's a solid top 25 team, and the way we bounced back after Sunday's disappointment ending, I was proud of the way they bounced back today. They, we knew these guys were going to come out swinging at us, and we responded very well. So I was pleased with it. Very happy the way our guys threw the ball tonight, and offensively we did enough early on to get a lead, and then seventh inning kind of got a little sloppy there, but we were able to take advantage of some things and put up a big number there to make it a little more lopsided, I think, than that game actually was. But all in all, pleased with how everybody played.
Is that the plan coming in to just kind of staff it for this one and sort of, see who's available for the weekend afterwards?
Yeah, I mean, we were going to go with our best guys, but we wanted to the best guys that are available and try to get this one, obviously, and keep everybody fresh for the weekend at the same time. And these are the guys that pitch today. Those are guys we need. We need them to show up and pitch well. Every time they go out there, really, but especially this weekend, and we needed them fresh. We didn't want to overextend anybody, so we make sure we have everybody available for the weekend.
So you feel like the success of today kind of keeps things a little bit more open in terms of availability for the weekend?
Yeah, I think all those guys that threw today will be available this weekend. There shouldn't be any reason why nobody threw more than 30, 35 pitches, I don't think. So they should all be ready to go probably Saturday at the latest, potentially Friday.
You guys have won 7 of 8 now, really kind of taking care of business in the stretch where things could have gone sideways a little bit. What do you attribute that kind of resilience to?
Just continuing to focus on not necessarily the outcomes, but just the process, doing things the right way and understanding that we have to get better. The results will take care of itself as long as you go out and focus on the details and do those things right and execute the things that we try to preach upon. And we know that they're going to make mistakes. That's going to happen. But if we can limit the amount of, again, free passes that we give up and attack the strike zone, trust your stuff from a pitching standpoint, they have enough. They're good enough if they attack the zone. But it's the walks and the hit batters that just destroy us, when we do that type of stuff. So I'm continuing to preach that upon them and try to ingrain it in them that just go out and attack the zone, and we're going to be fine. So offensively, we still have to get better, but we're doing a much better job of staying in the zone and making things happen. We'd still like to cut down on the strikeouts a little bit more, but top to bottom, you're seeing guys that are contributing. From top to bottom, you're finding new guys every day that are stepping up, and it doesn't have to be the same guy every night. Kean Vu's putting together great at bats down at the bottom. New Contradas has been on fire lately, which is a guy that people were questioning why he was in the lineup early on. It's like, no, that kid can hit, he can play, and he's going to figure it out. So it's great to see those guys starting to swing it and starting to contribute in a variety of ways, not just from swinging the bats, but base running. They're starting to figure that part of it out a little bit too. So top to bottom, a good game by our guys.
You mentioned limiting free passes. I think there was only 2 walks for the staff tonight. Facing a lineup as good as GCU's, top to bottom, how important is that to just sort of be able to carry over that performance?
Yeah, I mean those guys we knew they could swing the bats very well, and we just want to keep things small. If they're going to score, keep them small. And to me, that's the biggest way we do that is not giving up extra base runners. Make them swing it to beat you. And they did a good job doing that tonight. Our guys threw the ball well, and they scattered hits out there, of course. But you expect that when you play against GCU, they're going to get some hits off you. But just try to keep it minimal and keep it in the ballpark and keep things small, and good things will happen.
On the injury front, how far out is Nick McLean, and what's the news on Ethan, if there's any?
Nick is progressing. He's feeling a lot better. We still haven't been able to get him cleared yet, from Doc, but I think we're getting close. I was trying to shoot for this weekend for him, and it doesn't look like we're going to make that quite in time, but hopefully he'll be ready for the Cal series, is my hope. Again, that's not set in stone, but I think he's getting close, and just starting to swing lightly, and hopefully we get him back soon, because that'll be another nice boost to our lineup. Ethan, still sore, still bothering him, so he's going to get another opinion, and revisit that. I think maybe get a couple more tests done from an offensive standpoint. He's going to start throwing a little bit, maybe get him back on the bump, and he can contribute that way. So that's something that he brought up to me, something I've always wanted him to do, but haven't pushed him to do it. And he came up to me the other day and said, "What do you think about me starting to contribute on the mound?" I'm like, "It's about time. Let's go." So he can be effective. You guys have seen him in the past where he's got an electric arm. So if we can start getting his arm in shape for maybe being on the bump and not knowing the timetable on his wrist, then he can contribute and help us out that way.
I'm looking ahead at U of A. Are there some similarities and differences that you've seen from last year's team to this year's team in the scouting a bit?
From U of A's team or our team?
Yeah.
U of A's team, I to be honest, they return a lot of guys. I haven't dove into them in depth yet. I'll do that tomorrow. We wanted to make sure we put all our focus on Grand Canyon today. But now that game's behind us and they're next up, we'll dive into them. But I know they're returning a lot of guys, that we faced last year. So we'll start focusing on them a little bit more and their rotation and then how we're going to pitch those guys as well. So we know they're key guys, and we'll figure out a game plan on how we can best attack them.
Is there anything that you learned from that Utah series that you're looking to apply to your next Pac-12 series?
Well, again, I think when you minimize the mistakes and minimize the free bases, you got a chance to be okay. And so a lot of our runs that we gave up at Utah were gift wrapped. I mean, there was with an exception of late in that game, there were very few on Sunday. There were very few hard hit balls really against us, with an exception of, I think, the first inning grand slam on Friday night was hard hit ball, obviously, but after that, the runs we gave up, we gave it to them, in a lot of ways. So if we limit that type of stuff, then and keep us in games and let our offense get to work, then hopefully we can continue to put up wins.
I know you've probably preached a lot about the importance of the rivalry to the guys and stuff, but with so many new faces on the team, how have you kind of told them to familiarize them, I guess, with just the nature of it and the importance of always performing well against Arizona?
Well, we haven't talked about it because they haven't been next up yet. And now that they're next up, I gave them a little preview after the game tonight that we know who's next. And we'll discuss that in depth tomorrow after practice.
A year ago today, you guys lost GCU at home. Was there a sense of maybe a little more motivation going into this game because you guys were pretty emotional after that loss? Was there just any motivation coming into it today?
Nothing other than the fact that we know they're a good team. They're a top 25 team. They cracked into the top 25 this week, and they've been to the postseason the last 2 years, and they did beat us here last year. And to me, it's it's important for our program to play well, especially against our in-state rivals. And this was the first test we had against our in-state opponents. So, like I said, pleased with how we responded and how we played today. That was a good statement. And but any extra motivation? No, it's a different team. Last year's last year. I'm trying to turn the page on that one, but when we come out and play like we did tonight, we got a shot.
And Keisha's really improved since his slow start to the year. What have you seen, different approach at the plate that has really led to this recent success from him?
Just letting the ball travel a little bit more. Early on, he was really trying to hit it way out front, and I think that was, a result of him trying to do too much a little bit, and really felt the emphasis of wanting to carry the whole team. Like, dude, you don't have to carry it, you just got to do your part, and if you do that, that's enough. So just kind of trying to get him to let the ball travel a little bit and trust his hands, trust his God-given ability that he's been given, and he's starting to do that. And it's see, kid squares the ball up. It's fun to watch. He's a fun player.
You touched a little bit on not only Keisha but also New and those guys who were sort of staggering a little bit out of the gate and, you know, emphasize the faith, they're going to come around, and that's happened over the last couple of weeks. They've probably been maybe some of the hottest hitters on this team. Is that kind of just sort of, you know, revitalize your faith in not only this lineup, but those guys in particular who, you know, had the slow starts and were able to bounce back in a big way?
I think it's you know, a combination of things to where you emphasize swinging strikes. You know, it sounds so elementary, but you got to swing strikes, man. You can't be chasing stuff out of the zone. But you know, you look at a little bit more in detail of why you're chasing pitches out of the zone and what's your approach. Are you trying to hit homers? You know, and for me, that's you know, taking New for example. That's early on, his approach and his swing was such that, dude, you're trying to pull everything and hit it on the street. You can't do that. You do that as a result of staying up the middle, and you accidentally catch it out front. So it took him a while to hit rock bottom a little bit before he started listening a little bit. And I think now that he's seen the success of staying the other way and staying up the middle, that, yeah, you're a pretty good hitter, man. Like, your hands are quick enough if you just trust it and stay up the middle. So, you know, continuing to you know, try to breathe confidence into these guys, and you know, at the same time, understand that there's consequences too if you don't. And you take a guy like Will Rogers, who we need to get him back in the lineup, but he's got to understand, man, you can't keep swinging that stuff out of the zone, and he knows that. Will's a great kid and gets it, but there's a couple of adjustments we have to make from an approach standpoint with him, and once we feel confident that he's got that kind of, you know, back in his back pocket where he feels good, then he'll be back in there. So, but sometimes you got to pull the reins back a little bit, and I don't want to say go back to the drawing board, but get back to the fundamentals and get him seeing the baseball the way he's capable of. And you've all seen Will when he gets hot. It's fun to watch him too. So he's a capable bat that we need to get back in there at some point.
I know you said you haven't taken a deep dive into Arizona's roster, but just off the top of your head, guys that you know will be back, like Chase Davis, Nick McClary, Tony Bullard, TJ Nichols. So have you been able to kind of circle those guys as ones you won't need to do too much of a deep dive because you know that they're going to bring some really good stuff?
No, we're going to deep dive on all of them. You know, that's part of our job, is to trying to figure out how to get those guys out and how we're going to attack their pitching staff, you know, from an offensive standpoint. But yeah, we know the usual suspects, you know, coming back, and the Chase Davis and you know, Kiko's a nice left-handed hitter they have, and Bullard and McClarty. So Aliberte.
Laliberte, yeah.
Aliberte, I gotta get the pronunciation right, but you know, those guys they're capable. You know, they can put up some runs, so we're going to have a good game plan going in against them. And you know, from a pitching staff standpoint, we'll start diving into their roster a little bit and knowing who we're facing. Obviously, we're going to face some gas on Friday night. You know, he brings a pretty good fastball with him, so we'll have to be ready to hit the fastball, certainly.
What kind of environment are you expecting here on Friday night?
I'm hoping it's rocking. They weren't. They had a good. I'll say from a baseball fan, they had a good environment down there last year. I wouldn't say it was welcoming. There's a couple of the people that were on top of our dugout screaming at us after they walked us off on Friday. We haven't forgotten that. So hopefully our fans come with it, and you know, it's going to be what I anticipate, an intense atmosphere. So we're excited about it.
Coach, you talked about how New changed his strategy, you know, hit more up the middle. Luke Hill's got one of the highest batting averages on the team, freshman, right? What's going right for him, you think, when he's at the plate?
You know, he's on time a majority of the time. He's ready for the fastball, and he's, again, swinging at strikes is his biggest thing. If he's attacking in the strike zone, he's pretty good. He's got a nice swing, and he's loaded on time, stays in the middle of the field. A lot of his hits have been to right center, up the middle, and so he sprays the ball around, which is good. Makes a lot of good solid contact, and you know, when he's got the breaking balls up and fastball efficient, he's pretty good. So he's done a good job of that so far.
Thanks, Coach.